And she never did, so I went through my life and some people, hi Marie, and others say, hi Amy, and some even say, hi Pa, which means grandmother. When I had my first granddaughter, I asked her to call me Ta, and that means grandmother. So I'm a Ta to many, many people. I have been very lucky in my lifetime to travel with my dad when he made a lot of these movies. And we get to a place and say, this is your room, there's a door in between, you guys just relax. My dad would come out, come on, let's go and see da-da-da-da. I said, Daddy, aren't you tired? And I was way younger then. He was already ready to go just at the moment's notice. I went with him to the Academy Awards when he was nominated. He was in about the third seat in a Dorothy Chandler pavilion. They were so sure he was going to win that they put him right on the edge and seat so he could just walk up the steps. But at the time, my mom was very ill, and they said, oh, you're coming right out. We're sending you a limo. You're going right to Las Vegas, where all of the nominees are going to party. And he goes, no. He said, I want to go home. My wife's sick. I said, Daddy, this is once in a lifetime. We're going to party with all the movie stars. He said, no, we're going home. When we were walking into the building, the Dorothy Chandler with the limo pulled up. During that period, they had to go out of town and get limos to come in because so many of them were already lent out, or they rent them out. And we pulled up and got out, and it was just like a wall of people. And just click, 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 flash, flash. And of all people, my dad, they were screaming and hollering his name. And I don't know how he heard it, but this young woman, she wasn't even talking loud. She said, Chief, please bless my baby. And he just went like that, walked right to her, and he put his hands on the baby's head, then he kept walking. And I said, how did you hear that? He used to do some stuff like that. When we'd have per diem per day, and he'd say, where's all the Indians? And they said, we'll take you there. And then he'd take his per diem, his $20 bills, and they'd go, Chief, then George? And he'd grab their hand like this, so when he'd take away his hand, they had $20. And then he goes through all his own and told Leonard, give me your money, I'll pay you back. As far as he could walk, as long as there was natives there, he'd just take out the money and give them 20s. That's where he always gravitated to, wherever they were in any city. And sometimes I worry about him, the places he used to go where he just trusted people with all his heart. He loved people with all his heart. We did a tour through BC, and he said, pull over right here. So we pulled over, he got out, and he walked right across into the big field where the children were having recess. And they started screaming and running to him and hanging on both hands and hugging him. And then he just stood there a good half hour just talking to them, and they were asking him questions, and he was answering. I saw a lady with a sprained ankle, and he said, take her in the house. And he put one hand behind her foot, her heel, and one on her foot, and he said, hang on real tight, I'm going to fix it. And stuff like that. It never swelled up. She was walking on it the next day. And this was a sprained ankle. Usually I twisted my ankle a few days ago, and it was sore for about 3 days, but he used to do that. And if we got sick, he'd say, I'm going to get some papauti. And he'd just take medicines all from the forest and bring them in and boil them. Sometimes you boil them, sometimes you just put it in a pot so the steam goes all over, it kills the germ. If it was a flu we were having. But he did so many magical things that I'd be amazed. I said, Daddy, how did you do that? He wasn't, it was like our belief, our voices aren't for idle chatter. We don't just talk. Our voices are to sing. And otherwise we just communicate with our mind. I've seen my mom and dad do it all the time. They'd give each other a look and the other would nod and I said, now what are they going to do? Because I never knew what they were going to do next. He was a very spiritual person and strong spiritually. I imagine he's doing huge work. I think this is okay to all of you ones must be familiar with him. I know someone who was on Second Narrows Bridge and had a very unhappy childhood. And he got on the other side and he was hanging on the rail like this. And he said the police were all around, the traffic was all stopped on Second Narrows and nobody could talk him down. And then he said he saw this moving almost higher than the Capitol Hill coming down the inlet and came above him like this, and he bent down and said, "Don't do this, son." And he's so surprised, he just froze there and he said, "Okay." Then he climbed over the fence and I think he works just as hard on the other side. His spirit is huge. And that's how he works. He said, "I'll be more help to you on the other side. Don't cry for me when I go home. I'm going to be real happy. Cry if you miss me, but don't cry for me, because I'll be real happy. I'll be with my mom, my dad, my brothers, and most of all, your mother and Gus Band." And I thought, "Who's Gus Band?" I said, "Who's Gus Band, Daddy?" "Oh, that's my good friend. And he's got descendants here on Capilano Reserve." He was naming all the people he was going to meet up with, and he said, "So don't feel bad for me. Don't cry for me. Just cry because you miss me." So I've done that off and on over the years. I can really feel his presence in this room. I just want to do his talk justice. This is the exact same little that he carried with him, and these are the exact what is written out. I think I even typed it out maybe. But I can see the words every time it flashes by. If I had a flashlight or something, so I can see this better. If there's such a thing.
Is there a light? Oh, you need. Yeah.